Former USA gymnastics coordinator Valeria Liukin was criticised for taking part in the USAG abuse scandal, and Nastia Liukin isn't too happy. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another gymnastics-based video. It's been a while, but here we are. So, in 2017, Valeria Liukin was appointed as the women's national team coordinator, and this was right at the beginning of the scandal with Larry Nassar. So the height of the scandal really was coming as Nastia's dad, Valeria Liukin, was appointed. As the case snowballed and all of the USAG structure was brought into question for abuse, Valeria Liukin's involvement was also questioned. With mixed reactions and criticised links to the old USA regime, Valeria inevitably resigned as he was cited as knowing of the sexual misconduct happening in women's gymnastics, USAG. In a surprising statement speaking of the abuse she received, national gold medalist Matti Larsson named Valeria Liukin as an enabler. Matti Larsson stated, "It truly bothers me that one of the adults that treated me this way, making me feel completely invisible, is the new national team coordinator, Valeria Liukin. It troubles me that he is now in that position, and I hope for the sake of current and future national team members that he has changed." Now, this statement from Matti Larsson was very shocking as she named Valeria Liukin as taking part in her abuse, mental abuse that she received, the emotional abuse, not necessarily sexual, but all abuse is harmful. And she spoke about how it harmed her, how it caused her to abuse herself, how she didn't even want to attend the national training camps. And even if you agree that Valeria Liukin took part in the abuse cycle or did not take part in the abuse cycle, he was a part of the structure, and he also stated himself that he did not see a reason to change the structure as it worked. And that really does bring up red flags, as over 100 girls were getting abused sexually. How many more emotionally and physically? Anyway, we all have our views on what took place, and Nastia Liukin wasn't shy to share hers. In February 2018, Nastia Liukin posted a Snapchat in support of her dad and seeming to publicly dismiss Matti Larsson's statement. She said, "Some thoughts. Tonight I'm going to sleep so blessed and thankful for those who have filled my heart with love today. I send nothing but love and peace to those that have and continue to bring my family down. We are much stronger than you think. Good night, XO." Not only did this seem to be directed at Matti Larsson's statement, it also seemed to be directed at people in her comments in IG, Snap, Twitter, who were saying that she deserved to be abused and raped. It is never okay to wish those things on somebody else. However, many criticised Nastia's post as being tone deaf. Her dad, Valeria Liukin, was an integral part of the USAG women's team, and there was no way his involvement would not be questioned. And she has every right to disagree with the statements and what people are saying. However, it was a very sensitive time for a lot of women, for a lot of coaches, for parents, people, all across the world, really. And she really should have stayed quiet, as at that point we did not really know what her dad's involvement was and if he had anything to do with this sexual abuse. And since 2018, Nastia Liukin hasn't really commented further on what people are saying about her father's involvement until a recent interview with Fair Game in late 2018. She formally addressed Matti Larsson's statement and overall criticism of her dad.
And so I think for me, I was dealing with it and processing it in a way with, yes, I wasn't a victim of his sexual abuse, but also I trusted this man. And so it was very hard to kind of process all of that.
Your dad was named in one of the impact statements.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? How do you process that as a woman and also as his daughter?
Yeah, so my dad was my coach, so he was always there. My heart goes out to all of the victims, and I can't imagine what they've had to go through and continue to have to go through on a daily basis. But at the same time, the athlete that kind of spoke out and named him in her statement, he's never coached her ever before.
Why would she do that?
I'm not sure. And I haven't had the chance to talk with her. Yeah, Yeah, so I think like that's hard. I think just as a daughter, you know,
course,
it's
you don't want
like
your dad to deal with that.
I'm also kind of like, you can take stabs at me all you want,
Yes.
but the second you mess with my family, and I
Yeah.
think like that was like the hardest part for all of us. I think I was just most surprised because it wasn't even from an athlete that he ever coached, so it was a little strange.
In Nastia's interview, she was very admissive of Larson's statement and did not even mention Larson by name. Many viewers were really just not happy with the way she dealt with it. They thought she was being dismissive. They thought she didn't see her dad's involvement and that she wasn't holding her dad accountable to what he was involved in. However, I think those people are being too critical, as Valeria Liukin is her dad, and as far as she's aware, she did not receive any abuse. That's how she feels, that she did not receive any abuse. So it's hard for her to believe that somebody else could receive abuse, especially from her dad. You know, she spent time with him in the gym during the day and at night at home. And you always have to be sensitive when dealing with somebody's family. You know, that's her dad and she loves him. And she would need concrete evidence before she could ever say anything against her dad. And that's completely understandable. However, what I want Nastia to do is just acknowledge that during her time when she was training as a national gymnast, and before her and after the whole reign of the Carolis, that there was sexual abuse that took place and even more physical and mental abuse. And her dad, willingly or maybe not willingly, was a part of that cycle and that structure. And that many gymnasts did maybe felt shunned and invisible from her dad and the other coaches. But I think that will take her a while to process, and that's okay. So let me know what you think of Matty Larson's statement. Do you think it was a bad idea for the USAG women's team to ever put Valerie Liukin as women's team coordinator? Do you think that it was right for him to step down? Was that the only choice that he had? And also, how do you feel of Nastia's involvement in all of this? She's very much looking on from the sidelines, and many are not pleased with the way she's handled it. Let me know what you think. See you next time on another gymnastics-based video.